Lena whispered that something was on the roof. I told her it was just the cold, glass cracking under the weight of winter. Then it stepped right above us, slow, heavy, certain, not searching, not wandering, walking like it knew exactly where we were. Another step followed, dragging slightly, like whatever was up there had been dead for a long time and had only just remembered how to move again. My name is Mara. This is my friend Lena. We were not heroes, not even close. We were two girls with cameras chasing abandoned places because empty rooms felt safer than living ones. We wanted to photograph abandoned places all winter. It started small, empty cabins, forgotten barns, places where dust had become the only thing still growing. But over time, we started looking for places where something felt wrong, even before you stepped inside. The old Veltman greenhouse was the first place I circled on the map, not because it was famous, but because it wasn't. No history that made sense, no clear reason it had been abandoned, just a name and silence where answers should have been. We drove 3 hours into a valley no one visited. The road slowly disappeared beneath the snow until it felt like we were no longer driving somewhere, but being led. We saw it through the trees. It was huge, too large for what it should have been. The glass reflected the sky in broken fragments, like it was remembering light instead of showing it. The iron gate was already open, just slightly. Not enough to welcome us, just enough to suggest we weren't the first to pass through. The sign said closed 1943, nothing else. No explanation, just a year that felt like it had been cut short, like something happened and no one stayed long enough to write the rest. The gravel crunched under our boots, too loud. Each step echoed unnaturally, bouncing up into the hollow glass above us like the sound was being repeated by something that didn't quite understand it. The main door was glass and iron, beautiful and broken. When we pushed it open, it didn't creak, it exhaled, slow and tired, like something inside had been waiting a very long time for it to open again. The smell hit us first. Old soil and something sweet, not flowers, not rot, something in between, like life and decay had been left together too long and started to blend. It went back further than it should have. Rows of empty beds stretched into dim light and didn't seem to come from anywhere. The deeper you looked, the less certain the shape of the place became. We set up near the entrance, smart, we thought, close to the door, close to leaving, but the truth was we were already further in than we understood. Outside, the temperature dropped to -12, the cold pressed against the glass walls like something trying to get inside. You could almost feel it watching us from the other side. The glass walls held heat somehow, just enough, not comfortable, just enough to keep us from leaving too quickly. Lena photographed the old plant labels. They were still there, neat, clean, undisturbed, as if someone had been taking care of them long after the place was supposed to be abandoned. One label just said, "Here." It means here in German. No plant, no explanation, just a marker for something that wasn't there anymore, or something we couldn't see. We laughed. We told ourselves it meant nothing, but the sound of our laughter felt thin, like it didn't belong in that place. It was 2 a.m. I heard movement, not outside, inside, close. Dead leaves scraped across the stone floor. No wind. They shifted slowly, like something had brushed past them, something with weight, but no shape we could see. I shook Lena awake. She heard it too. She didn't ask what it was. She just listened, and that silence between us said everything. I turned the lantern up. The shadows ran back, but they didn't disappear. They just waited further away, like they were giving us space. There were wet footprints on the stone floor, not ours. They didn't lead to the door. They didn't come from anywhere. They simply appeared, bare, too long, too narrow, and still fresh. Lena said we should leave. I wanted to stay, not because I was brave, but because something about the place made leaving feel wrong, like turning your back on something that wasn't finished with you yet. The blizzard answered for us, -20 outside. The moment we tried the door, the wind forced it shut again, howling like it didn't want us to leave. Morning came gray and flat. The prints were still there, unchanged, waiting. In daylight, we went deeper. That was a mistake. The light didn't make it safer, it only made it clearer how wrong everything was. The back half of the greenhouse was different, warmer. The air felt thick, almost damp, like something had been breathing there long before we arrived. Plants were alive back there, without sunlight, without water. Their leaves leaned slightly towards us, slow enough not to miss if you weren't paying attention, but once you noticed, you couldn't ignore it. It smelled like fresh earth and something rotting underneath, like something was growing on top of something else. There was a workbench, tools laid out neat, recently used, no dust, no rust, just clean metal waiting to be picked up again. The gloves were old, decades old, but clean, placed carefully like they had just been taken off. One chair sat in the corner, facing us, not abandoned, positioned, watching. We backed away slowly, back to the entrance, fast, because by then we both understood the same thing. We weren't alone in that place. No signal, 0 bars. The satellite radio was dead. It had worked before, but inside the greenhouse, it was like the world had been cut away. We had food for 2 days, water for 1, and time, too much time. The second night fell faster, darker, more complete, the kind of dark that feels heavy, like it's pressing against your skin. Something tried the front door. The handle moved, slowly, not forcing, not panicking, just testing. I pushed the old potting table against the door. It didn't feel like protection, just delay. Then it knocked, 3 times, even, patient, not aggressive, not desperate, polite. Lena pressed her face to the glass beside the door. I told her not to. She didn't listen. There was a shape in the snow, standing still, just standing, too tall, too thin, wrong in a way I can't explain. The storm moved around it, not through it. Then the knocking came again, 3 times, closer. And that's when I understood something I wish I never had. The thing outside wasn't trying to get in. It was waiting because something else was already inside with us. And above us, it stepped again.